You are not starting with a perfect situation. Assume you have almost nothing saved. Maybe $0, maybe $500, maybe a few $1,000s, but it disappears every time rent, groceries, car repairs, or credit card payments hit. Now the goal sounds insane. Go from broke to $500,000 in 2 years. But this is not about magic. It is about math, pressure, and sequencing. You cannot budget your way there slowly. You need a step-by-step financial sprint, where income, expenses, debt, investing, and leverage all move together. Start with the brutal baseline. Assume you make $60,000 per year. After taxes and deductions, you might bring home around $3,800 per month. If your rent is $1,600, car payment is $500, food is $600, insurance is $250, utilities are $250, gas is $200, subscriptions and personal spending are $400, and debt payments are $500, you are already at $4,050. That means you are not really saving, you are surviving. So the first lesson is simple. $500,000 is impossible until your monthly gap becomes massive. Your first target is not $500,000. Your first target is creating a $5,000 monthly gap. That means every month, after bills, taxes, food, housing, transportation, and debt payments, you have $5,000 left to attack wealth. If you can create a $5,000 monthly gap, that is $60,000 per year. If you can create a $10,000 monthly gap, that is $120,000 per year. If you can create a $15,000 monthly gap, now you are in serious acceleration territory. The gap is the machine. Month 1 is financial triage. You write down every number: income, expenses, debt balances, interest rates, minimum payments, subscriptions, rent, car costs, food, insurance, phone bill, and anything else draining cash. If you owe $18,000 on credit cards at 24% interest, that debt is an emergency. If your car payment is $700, that car may be blocking your future. If rent consumes half your income, housing is the first major lever. You cannot fix what you refuse to measure. In months 1 through 3, you cut expenses only where the cuts are big enough to matter, not just coffee, housing, cars, debt, food, insurance, and unused subscriptions. If you can reduce rent from $1,900 to $1,200 by getting a roommate, that is $700 monthly. If you sell a car with a $650 payment and drive something cheaper, that might free up $500 monthly. If you reduce restaurants from $700 to $250, that is another $450. Now you may have created $1,500 per month before earning $1 more. But cutting alone will not get you to $500,000. If you save $1,500 monthly, that is $36,000 in 2 years. Great progress, but nowhere near the target. So month 1 also begins your income upgrade plan. You choose one high income lane, not 5. 1. Examples: enterprise software, SAP project support, AI automation, cybersecurity, technical sales, data analytics, cloud systems, revenue operations, healthcare specialization, or high-ticket B2B sales. The rule is simple. Pick a skill businesses already pay heavily for. Months 1 through 6 become your skill-building phase. Assume you work your normal job during the day, then invest 2 hours per night and 8 hours on weekends building one marketable skill. That is roughly 20 hours weekly. Over 6 months, that is about 500 hours of focused learning. 500 hours is enough to become useful in a narrow business problem. Not world-class, not a genius, useful. And useful people get paid when they solve expensive problems. Here's an example path. If you are in operations, administration, finance, logistics, or project coordination, you learn AI workflow automation, reporting dashboards, Excel automation, SQL basics, Power BI, and process improvement. Your goal is not to become a software engineer. Your goal is to help companies save time. If a company has people wasting 300 hours per month manually preparing reports, and you automate half of that work, you have created thousands of dollars in monthly value. That is what income follows. By month 4, you start applying for higher income roles before you feel ready. You do not wait until confidence arrives. You apply while building skills. Assume your current salary is $60,000. Your first target is a role paying $100,000 to $140,000. Business analyst, systems analyst, project coordinator in technology, implementation consultant, sales operations analyst, AI automation specialist, technical account manager. If you jump from $60,000 to $120,000, your take-home income may increase by roughly $3,000 monthly. That one move changes the whole game. Now the first milestone appears. By month 6, you want 3 things completed. Your expenses reduced by at least $1,000 per month. Your high-interest debt payoff plan started. Your income upgrade actively in motion. If you land a $120,000 roll and keep expenses around $3,500 to $4,000 monthly, you may now save $3,500 to $4,500 monthly. That is not enough for $500,000 yet, but it is the first engine firing. You have moved from survival mode into accumulation mode. Months 6 through 9 are about killing high-interest debt. If you owe $20,000 at 24% interest, paying it off is like getting a guaranteed 24% return because you stop the interest bleeding. Let's say your new surplus is $4,500 monthly. You use $3,500 per month toward debt and keep $1,000 for emergency savings. In 6 months, you can eliminate about $21,000 in credit card debt. That is the moment your money stops moving backward and starts building forward. While debt is being destroyed, you build a small emergency fund. Not massive yet, just 1 month of basic expenses, then 2. If your lean monthly expenses are $4,000, your first emergency fund target is $8,000. Why not 6 months immediately? Because in this 2-year sprint, idle cash slows you down. You need enough cash to avoid panic, but not so much that your money sits frozen while assets could be growing. Early stage, $8,000 to $12,000 is the safety buffer. By month 9, your second engine begins, side income. You do not need a cute side hustle. You need a skill-based side offer. For example, I help small businesses automate weekly reports, or I build dashboards for service companies, or I help local contractors track leads and revenue, or I help teams document processes and reduce manual admin work. Your first client might pay only $500. That is fine. The goal is proof. Proof becomes pricing power. Here's what side income math can look like. If you freelance 10 hours per week at $50 per hour, that's $2,000 monthly. At $75 per hour, that's $3,000 monthly. At $100 per hour, that's $4,000 monthly. If you move from hourly work to fixed projects, you might charge $3,000 for a dashboard, $5,000 for an automation package, or $10,000 for a process cleanup project. The goal by month 12 is not perfection. It's $3,000 to $5,000 monthly in extra income. Now combine the numbers. Your upgraded job pays $120,000. Your side income averages $4,000 monthly. Your living expenses are $4,000 monthly. After taxes and business expenses, assume your monthly available cash is now around $6,000 to $7,000. That means your annual wealth building capacity is roughly $72,000 to $84,000. Still not enough for $500,000 by itself, but now you are building speed. The first year is not about hitting the final number, it's about constructing the machine. By the end of year 1, your goal might look like this: high interest debt gone, emergency fund at $10,000, investments at $50,000 to $80,000, side income producing monthly cash, and your main income upgraded. If you started with negative net worth, this is already a massive turnaround. You may not look rich, you may still drive an old car, you may still have roommates, but financially, you are no longer the same person. You have created a system capable of acceleration. Year 2 is where the big jump happens. The goal is to move from a $7,000 monthly gap to a $12,000 to $18,000 monthly gap. That requires one of 3 moves: increase your salary again, increase side income aggressively, or add a scalable business asset. For example, your $120,000 role becomes a $160,000 role. Your $4,000 monthly side income becomes $8,000. Your expenses rise slightly from $4,000 to $5,000, but not much. Now you may have $11,000 or more monthly to invest. Let's make the year 2 math very specific. Assume your salary becomes $160,000. After taxes and deductions, maybe you take home around $9,500 monthly. Your side income averages $8,000 monthly, but after taxes and expenses, maybe you keep $5,500. Total usable monthly cash is now around $15,000. If your living expenses are $5,000, you have $10,000 monthly to invest. That is $120,000 per year. Add existing investments from year one, and the compounding base starts getting serious. But $10,000 monthly still may not get you to $500,000 in 2 years. So the aggressive version requires bigger income. Let's say year 2 includes a stronger consulting push. Your side income reaches $12,000 monthly gross. After taxes and expenses, you keep $8,000. Your salary take-home is $9,500. Total usable cash is $17,500. Expenses stay at $5,000. Now your monthly investment capacity is $12,500. Over 12 months, that is $150,000 invested from cash flow alone. To reach $500,000 in 24 months, the realistic aggressive path usually needs one more accelerator. A bonus, commission, business sale, real estate equity, stock compensation, high-ticket consulting, or a low-cost business that throws off cash. For example, if your job provides a $25,000 bonus and your consulting business produces 2 $15,000 projects, that is $55,000 in additional gross income. After taxes, maybe $35,000 to $40,000 remains. That single cluster of wins can move the timeline forward by months. Now, let's build a sample 2-year roadmap. Months 1 to 3, reduce expenses by $1,500 monthly and begin skill building. Months 4 to 6, apply for higher paying roles and build a portfolio. Months 7 to 9, land the income jump and eliminate high interest debt. Months 10 to 12, start side consulting and invest the first $50,000 to $80,000. Year 1 target. Net worth moves from $0 or negative to roughly $75,000 to $125,000. That is the foundation. Year 2 roadmap. Months 13 to 15, raise freelance rates and target better clients. Months 16 to 18, push total monthly investing above $10,000. Months 19 to 21, negotiate salary, change jobs again, or add higher ticket projects. Months 22 to 24, push all bonuses, consulting profit, and excess cash into assets. Year 2 target, add $250,000 to $350,000 through income, investing, and asset growth. Combined with year 1, you may approach the $400,000 to $500,000 range. Now, let's be honest. A clean $0 to $500,000 in 2 years is not realistic for every income level. If you earn $40,000 and cannot increase income dramatically, the math will not work. But that is exactly why the first step is income expansion, not budgeting harder. To hit $500,000 in 2 years, you likely need total gross income across salary, business, side work, bonuses, or commissions of $250,000 to $400,000 per year, while keeping expenses unusually low. That is the real math. Here is a realistic high-income example. Year 1, you earn $130,000 from your main job and $40,000 from side work. Total gross income, $170,000. After taxes, maybe $125,000 usable. You live on $50,000. That leaves $75,000 invested. Year 2, income rises to $250,000 from salary, consulting, and bonuses. After taxes, maybe $175,000 usable. You live on $60,000. That leaves $115,000 invested. Combined direct savings, $190,000. Strong, but not $500,000 yet. So the $500,000 version requires either higher income or an asset jump. Example 2. Year 1 gross income is $220,000. You keep $155,000 after taxes and live on $50,000. You invest $105,000. Year 2 gross income is $400,000 from salary, consulting, commissions, or business revenue. You keep $275,000 after taxes and live on $65,000. You invest $210,000. Total invested cash, $315,000. Add market growth, retirement match, bonuses, business retained earnings, and existing assets, and $500,000 becomes possible. This is why the script should not pretend $500,000 comes from skipping coffee. It comes from an aggressive financial architecture. High income, low lifestyle inflation, high savings rate, productive assets, no destructive debt, and concentrated effort. If you save 70% of your income for 2 years while income rises sharply, the numbers become powerful. If you save 10%, they do not. A savings rate is the speed limit. The income is the engine. Assets are the road that keeps extending forward. Now let's talk investing allocation. Early on, assume you split money into 3 buckets. Bucket 1, emergency cash, roughly $10,000 to $25,000 depending on your expenses. Bucket 2, diversified long-term investments such as broad market index funds, retirement accounts, or similar assets. Bucket 3, skill and business reinvestment. That third bucket matters. Spending $2,000 on a certification, equipment, coaching, or software that helps you earn another $30,000 is not consumption. It is leverage. A sample monthly allocation during year 2 might look like this. You have $12,000 available after expenses. You put $7,000 into index funds or retirement investments. You put $2,000 into cash reserves until your emergency fund is complete. You put $2,000 into business growth, tools, contractors, or education. You keep $1,000 for flexibility, so the plan does not break the first time life gets messy. This balance keeps you investing, protected, and still building income capacity. The biggest trap during this sprint is lifestyle inflation. Let's say your income jumps from $60,000 to $180,000. Suddenly you feel rich. So you lease a $900 monthly car, move into a $3,000 apartment, take 2 vacations, and start eating out constantly. Your income triples, but your savings barely moves. That is how high earners stay broke. Instead, for 2 years, you live as if your raise is temporary. You invest the difference before your brain gets addicted to the upgrade. Another trap is confusing speculation with investing. Trying to turn $5,000 into $500,000 through meme stocks, options, or random crypto bets is not a plan. It is gambling with better branding. The goal is not to get lucky. The goal is to build a repeatable machine. Skills create income. Income creates surplus. Surplus buys assets. Assets create growth. Growth creates options. Options create better decisions. That loop is boring, but it is durable. And durable beats dramatic for most people. Your weekly schedule during the first year might look like this. Monday through Friday, you work your main job. 4 nights per week, you spend 90 minutes learning the high-income skill. Saturday morning, you build portfolio projects or freelance offers. Saturday afternoon, you contact potential clients or apply for better roles. Sunday, you review money, track expenses, adjust your plan, and prepare for the week. This is not glamorous, but the weekly structure turns ambition into measurable movement. By month 12, your weekly schedule changes. You are no longer just learning. You are selling and delivering. 2 evenings per week go to client work. 1 evening goes to improving your skill. 1 evening goes to outreach. Saturday becomes delivery day. Sunday becomes planning and money review. If side income reaches $5,000 monthly, you protect it like a second job. Not forever, just during the sprint. The reason most people fail is not lack of opportunity. It is inconsistent execution. Now let's make the $500,000 target visual. You need roughly $20,833 per month in net worth growth for 24 months. That is the brutal number. Most people never calculate it. If you only invest $2,000 monthly, you cannot get there in 2 years without extreme luck. If you invest $10,000 monthly, you are halfway there through contributions. If you invest $15,000 monthly, plus bonuses and business income, now the goal becomes aggressive but possible. The monthly target forces honesty. So the question becomes, how do you create $20,833 monthly in net worth growth? Example, $12,000 monthly invested from salary and side income, $3,000 monthly from business retained earnings, $2,000 monthly from employer match, bonuses, or commissions averaged across the year, $2,000 to $4,000 monthly from market growth once your portfolio gets larger, although this will fluctuate. Now you can see the machine. It is not one miracle. It is several engines pushing together. There is also a lower risk version. Maybe you don't reach $500,000 in 2 years. Maybe you reach $180,000, or $250,000, or $325,000. That still changes your life. The title may be $500,000, but the real lesson is the architecture. Most people drift financially because they never combine income growth, controlled spending, debt elimination, investing, and skill leverage at the same time. Even if you fall short, the system can still put you years ahead of where you were. Here is the final blueprint. First, measure everything. Second, cut the big expenses. Third, choose one high-income skill. Fourth, Spend 6 months becoming useful. 5th, jump to a higher paying role. 6th, destroy high interest debt. 7th, build a lean emergency fund. 8th, start skill-based side income. 9th, invest aggressively into productive assets. 10th, avoid lifestyle inflation for 24 months. This is the sequence. Skip the sequence and the plan weakens. Follow it intensely and your financial life can change fast. And the real payoff is not just the account balance. It is who you become during the process. You become someone who understands numbers, someone who can increase income, someone who can control impulses, someone who can build systems, someone who can spot leverage. Going from broke to 500,000 is not just a saving story. It is an identity shift. You stop asking, how do I survive this month? And start asking, how do I build assets that buy back my future? So if you are starting from zero, do not begin by asking, how do I magically save $500,000? Ask a better question. What monthly gap do I need, and what skill can create it? Because once your gap grows, everything changes. Debt falls faster, investments grow faster, opportunities appear faster, confidence rises faster. The first dollars are the hardest because they require changing the system. But once the system changes, money stops being a mystery. It becomes a machine. The path from broke to 500,000 in 2 years is not normal. It is not easy, and it is not guaranteed, but the mechanics are clear. You need unusually high income, unusually controlled expenses, unusually aggressive investing, and unusually focused execution. Most people will not do that, which is exactly why most people will never experience that kind of acceleration. The opportunity is not hidden because it is complicated. It is hidden because it is uncomfortable. And for 2 focused years, discomfort may be the price of freedom. 2 years from now, your life can look almost identical or completely different. Same job, same debt, same stress, same excuses. Or higher income, cleaner finances, growing investments, better options, and a future that no longer feels trapped. The difference is not one heroic decision. It is hundreds of small decisions stacked in the right order. Learn the skill, increase the income, keep expenses low, kill the debt, invest the gap, repeat until the numbers become undeniable. That is how broke begins turning into wealthy.